Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Today marks 30 years since the announcement of the unbanning of political parties and the release of former President Nelson Mandela. Former President FW de Klerk made the announcement on this day in 1990. Bulelani Philip has this report.
It was a landmark decision, one that took most people by surprise.
The steps that have been decided are the following. The prohibition of the African National Congress, the Pan-Africanist Congress, the South African Communist Party and a number of subsidiary organizations is being rescinded.
And it didn't just end there.
I wish to put it plainly that the government has taken a firm decision to release Mr. Mandela unconditionally. I am serious about bringing this matter to finality without delay. The government will take a decision soon on the date of his release.
While there was expectation of a drastic decision in the lead up to the speech, it appears that the unbanning of political parties and the release of Mandela was not quite on everybody's mind, particularly to the conservatives. The decision signaled a new and clean chapter in the country's history, but some were still shocked, not just for the decision, but its future ramifications.
Firstly, nobody knew what he was going to do. It was a total, I was not surprised, but it was more than a shock. And we in the Conservative Party with Dr. Treenicht met and we described what Mr. Klerk had done as being a traitor. He's turning his back on the policy that we grew up with. We were told and assured by the churches that the policy is based on the Bible, that it's morally right, that it's internationally acceptable, and now Mr. de Klerk is destroying it.
While there was some expectation of a drastic decision by de Klerk, the magnitude was unforeseen.
That just blew us out of the water. I never forget the main opposition at the time was Dr. Treenicht. I happened to look at him as the announcement came, and you can see he was like shocked. He couldn't believe what he was hearing, that the devil incarnate is going to be released, according to them. So that was quite a big surprise to everybody.
The news quickly spread wide and beyond South Africa's borders. ANC veteran Paulo Jordan, who was in exile in Zimbabwe, says he got hold of de Klerk's speech from a Zimbabwean intelligence operative and struggle veteran prior to its delivery, and they were just waiting for official confirmation.
Immediately de Klerk finished speaking. I can't recall now whether it was we in Harare or someone at home who called the Harare office, and then they hung the telephone that they were using out the window in Johannesburg. So they listened to the people in the street, and there was this ululation and cheering in the street. So we knew the reception of the people inside the country, was quite exceptional. So in that respect, we said, well, this is, if not all the way, at least we're on second base.
The release of Mandela and the unbanning of political parties meant moving away from decades of apartheid and paving the way for negotiations. Struggle icon Nelson Mandela was released from Victor Verster prison in Paarl in the Poland, where he spent his last 14 months of his 27-year prison term. Mandela was released from prison on February 11. On the day, he was eagerly awaited by scores of followers at the Grand Parade in central Cape Town. Journalists had their hands full.
And I remember also at one stage I was standing next to this gentleman with an ANC T-shirt, which was up to a week or so ago still unbanned. And he's noticed me holding a microphone in my hand, and he looked at me very suspicious and said, "Who are you from?" And I just thought, this could be the end. And I said, "Well, I come from the SABC." And I could see his eyes just go wild, and I say, and what's more, I would kill for a beer now. And he laughed, and he said, "Oh, me too." We started laughing, and that broke the ice, and it was quite fun.
In 1993, Mandela and de Klerk were honored with the coveted Nobel Peace Prize. There is ongoing debate whether South Africa's last apartheid president should be celebrated.
In terms of white South African politics, I would say de Klerk will go down in history as one of the most outstanding figures, both in Afrikaner political history and specifically in white South African political history, because he was the one who was prepared to grasp the nettle, so to speak. That, I think, is his place in history. Now, whether that makes him a hero or a significant figure is another question. Significant figure, to be sure. Whether a hero, that's another question. There are those, I'm sure, who do see him as a hero, and there are those who see him, well, as an absolute villain. They were saying so even then. I would commend him for political courage. He had the guts to do what most of them recognized was necessary, but some of them feared to do.
What I hold against Mr. de Klerk is the Constitution and the new South Africa that he left us, because there's no protection, no effective protection for minority rights in this. And there's also no limit on the state power, because what has happened in the last 25 years, the ANC government has practically destroyed South Africa. We have one of the highest crime rates in the world. Corruption is up to the highest level. And then in particular, the white people are being targeted with affirmative action. Our people don't get work. Quota system.
De Klerk has not been shy to speak his mind on current political issues, including his opposition to the proposal of land expropriation without compensation. But Paulo Jordan says land reform is an inevitable route to redress.
It is a nonsense for anyone to complain about the fact that the likely losers, right, where expropriation takes place, are going to be drawn from a particular racial group. They gave themselves that advantage. They made themselves the exclusive owners of land in South Africa. So if you're going to take land away, you can only take it away from those who have it. Africans don't have land, so you can't take it away.
The legacy of FW de Klerk will be recorded in the country's history books and beyond our borders, and just how much he is revered or despised depends on who is reading those history books. Ulelani Philip, SABC News, Parliament.